The ER lights flicker as alarms scream and blood stains the floor, and for the first time in 20 years, Kenji Sato feels something far more dangerous than death closing in: need. The kind that coils low and violent in his chest. When his eyes meet hers across the trauma bay, something impossible awakens inside him. Not fear, not pain, possession. Welcome to Afro-Korea Stories by Yem Besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. The stretcher crashes through the emergency doors at 2:17 a.m., soaked crimson, surrounded by shouting nurses and frantic motion. Kenji Sato lies unconscious, suit shredded, ribs crushed, pulse fading. Even unconscious, he radiates menace, the kind that silences rooms and bends men into obedience. The city's most dangerous man, ruler of an underground empire built on secrets and blood, is dying. Blood type? A nurse shouts. Bombay phenotype, another answers breathlessly. Negative for everything. The room stills. There are fewer than 50 known donors in the country. Someone mutters, "We're dead." Dr. Elena Hamilton steps forward before fear can catch her. Curvy, tall, skin glowing against the sterile white lights, curls pulled back hastily from a night she never expected to end like this. Her badge swings as she moves. Trauma surgeon, dual citizenship, rare blood registry volunteer. "I'm a match," she says. Every head turns. The lead physician stares at her. "You understand the risks?" She nods once. "I understand he'll die without it." They rush him into surgery. The clock begins ticking. Inside the operating theater, Elena works with steady hands as machines beep in warning rhythms. The transfusion line connects them, her blood flowing into his body. She should feel fear. Instead, she feels awareness, an ache she can't explain, as if something ancient recognizes something broken and dangerous and familiar. When Kenji's heart stutters, she presses harder. "Stay with me," she whispers, though he cannot hear, but somewhere deep inside him, something answers. Hours later, dawn bleeds pale light through the hospital windows. Kenji Sato lives, and nothing will ever be the same again. He wakes slowly, pain blooming through his body like fire, tubes, machines, sterile air, then scent, warm, floral, alive, his eyes open. Elena is seated beside his bed, reviewing charts, unaware she's being watched. Her concentration softens her features. There's strength there, but also kindness, the kind that ruins men like him. Kenji's fingers twitch. She looks up. Their eyes collide. The room tightens, not attraction, recognition. His gaze sharpens despite the medication. "You," her breath stutters. "You're awake." "How long was I out?" 14 hours. He studies her like a weapon, assessing weakness. "You gave blood." "Yes." "Why?" "Because I could." Silence stretches, then quietly, dangerously. "No one helps me for free." "I didn't help you." She sees evenly. "I saved a patient." His lips curve faintly. "You saved a monster." "I don't believe that." Something flickers behind his eyes. Anger, curiosity, hunger. "You should." She stands. "You'll recover in ICU for 48 hours. After that, security will escort you elsewhere." "My security?" She hesitates. "Yours arrived an hour ago?" He smiles. That's when she realizes she's made a mistake. By nightfall, the hospital changes. Armed men replace orderlies. Hallways locked down. Administrators whisper. Kenji's presence infects the building like gravity. Elena keeps her distance until her phone vibrates. Unknown number. "You're avoiding me." She ignores it. Another message follows. "Come to my room." She exhales sharply and types back. "I'm your doctor, not your possession." The reply comes instantly. "Not yet." Her pulse jumps. 2 days later, she's summoned into the ICU conference room. Kenji sits upright now, dressed in black silk pajamas, bruises mapping his body like war medals. 2 guards flank him. "You're being discharged," she says clinically. "I'm being relocated." Same difference. He watches her too closely. "You didn't ask what I want." "I don't need to." A beat. "I want you." The air shifts. "That's inappropriate. I'm not talking about sex." She stills. "I want you near me," he continues calmly. "My blood carries yours now. That binds us." "That's not how medicine works." "That's how my world works." She meets his gaze. "Your world terrifies people." "Good." "It doesn't impress me." Something sharp flashes behind his eyes. "You should be afraid," he says. She steps closer instead. "You should be grateful." For the first time, he laughs. The next week becomes a blur of escalation. Anonymous threats hit the hospital. A rival syndicate believes Kenji's weakness is opportunity. Elena finds herself escorted everywhere. Watched, protected, controlled. When she protests, Kenji's voice drops. "They won't hurt you." "That's not comforting. They'll die first." She should run. Instead, she argues with him in quiet rooms, challenges his authority, refuses his gifts. He starts showing up unexpectedly, outside her apartment, in hospital corridors, watching her laugh with colleagues. Jealousy coils in him violently. When a male doctor touches her shoulder, Kenji's jaw tightens. That night, the doctor is transferred overseas. Elena confronts him. "You can't manipulate my life." "I can. That doesn't mean you should." He steps closer, too close. "Everyone leaves," he says softly. "You don't." Her breath catches. "You don't get to decide that." "I already did." 3 days later, everything collapses. Elena is kidnapped outside the hospital garage. Black van, chloroform, darkness. Kenji finds out 12 minutes later. Soul burns. By the time he reaches the warehouse, bodies litter the floor. He kills without mercy, without pause, without hesitation. When he finds her bound but alive, something inside him fractures. He kneels before her. "Did they touch you?" She shakes her head, sobbing. He cuts the ropes with trembling hands and pulls her into his chest. For the first time, Elena feels his heart racing. "I won't survive losing you," he admits against her hair. That night, safe in his penthouse, rain pounding against glass, the walls finally fall. Fear, relief, need. When his hands frame her face, she doesn't pull away. Their kiss is desperate, broken, full of everything they're not saying. It deepens. Then she stops him, breathless. "If this happens," she whispers, "there's no going back." His forehead presses to hers. I've been gone since the moment you saved my life." They disappear into the bedroom as the city glows below. Fade to black. By morning, doubt arrives. Elena wakes alone. A note rests beside her. "I don't deserve you, and that's exactly why I'll protect you anyway." Her chest tightens. She doesn't know it yet, but his hidden identity, buried for 20 years, is about to surface, and when it does, loving Kenji Sato may cost her everything. Elena doesn't sleep. The penthouse is silent except for the distant hum of Seoul below, a city that never pauses long enough for regret. She sits at the edge of the bed where Kenji should be, fingers twisting in the sheets, replaying the way his mouth trembled against hers, the way his hands shook like he was afraid of breaking something fragile, afraid of breaking her. Her phone buzzes. "I'm downstairs." Her heart jumps. "Why didn't you come up?" she types. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again, because if I did, I wouldn't leave. She exhales slowly, steadies herself, and walks to the elevator. Kenji waits in the lobby, dressed in black, eyes shadowed, jaw tight with restraint. He looks at her like a man starving in front of food he doesn't trust himself to touch. "You ran," she says quietly. "I retreated," he corrects. "There's a difference. You don't get to decide everything." "No," he admits, "but I decide what threatens you." She crosses her arms. "You're the threat." Something dark flashes through his eyes. "Say it again." "I won't be controlled." "Good," he murmurs. "Neither will I." They stand there, breathing the same air, tension thick enough to bruise. "Come upstairs," she says finally. "We need to talk." They do talk. About blood, about power, about lines that should never have been crossed and already are. He tells her fragments, enough to scare her, not enough to break her. "I built my empire because chaos is predictable," he says. "Love isn't," she answers with truth of her own. I became a doctor because fixing people made sense. This," she gestures between them, "chaos it doesn't." Yet she stays. The days that follow are a study in restraint. Shared breakfast, a lingering looks. His men watch her like she's already claimed. She pushes back, refuses his gifts, refuses his car, walks alone whenever she can. Kenji watches her from windows, from shadows, from the corner of rooms. Obsessed. Jealousy ignites when an old friend from medical school visits. Kenji doesn't interrupt, but the air freezes. Later, his voice is low. Does he touch you? No. Does he want to? She doesn't answer. Kenji turns away before the violence inside him spills. That night, the truth claws its way out. She finds the file accidentally, locked behind biometric clearance she shouldn't have. Names, dates, photos, a child's face. Kenji Sato isn't his real name. 20 years ago, he was Park Jae-min, son of a prosecutor assassinated by the syndicate he now controls. He didn't rise from the shadows. He replaced them. She confronts him on the rooftop. "You're not a king," she says, voice shaking. "You're a survivor who became what he hated." The wind whips her hair as dawn breaks. He doesn't deny it. "I chose power over grief. And now I choose you." She laughs bitterly. "You don't know how to love without owning." He steps closer. "You don't know how to stay without running." The words land hard. "This ends," she says. "I won't be collateral in your war." He stiffens. "There is no safe distance from me." "Then I'll make one." She leaves. The separation hits him like a wound reopened. Days stretch into nights. Enemies circle. A rival syndicate accelerates their attacks, believing Elena is leverage. Kenji refuses to contact her until she's targeted again. This time, she saves herself. When masked men corner her outside the hospital, Elena fights, using skill, intelligence, instinct. She escapes long enough to call Kenji. "Don't come," she says breathlessly. "I'm already there." He arrives in time to finish it, but when he sees her standing, bloodied but alive, something shifts. "You didn't need me," he says. "No," she replies, "but I wanted you." The words undo him. That night, they don't fight it. The intimacy is slow, reverent, devastating. He worships her strength. She feels his fear, his hunger, his restraint finally shatter. After, she traces the scars on his chest. "You don't get to decide alone anymore," she whispers. "If we do this, we do it together." He nods. For the first time, he lets her into his plans. They uncover the betrayal at the center of everything, his most trusted lieutenant, the man who arranged the original attack, the man who leaked her schedule. The ticking clock tightens, the enemy moves fast. Kenji prepares for war, Elena prepares for loss. On the night of the final confrontation, she makes her choice. She doesn't run. She stands beside him. And when the gunfire erupts, when everything hangs by a breath, she saves him, pulling him out of the line of fire, taking a blow meant for him. He screams her name. The world burns, but love holds. And when dawn comes, they are still standing. Together. The city wakes slowly after the violence, unaware of how close it came to losing one of its darkest kings. Kenji sits beside Elena's hospital bed, her hand wrapped in both of his, knuckles white like he's afraid the moment he loosens his grip, she'll vanish. Machines hum softly, her breathing is steady, alive, because she chose him, because she stepped into fire without hesitation. When her eyes open, the relief that crashes through him is almost unbearable. "You're awake," he says, voice breaking. She smiles weakly. "You look terrible." "I feel worse." He presses his forehead to her hand. "Don't ever do that again." She squeezes his fingers. "Then don't try to die without me." Something in him finally completely changes. The war ends quietly, ruthlessly. Kenji dismantles the syndicate from the inside, handing over evidence, sacrificing allies, burning bridges he once thought untouchable. He trades power for peace, control for freedom, fear for choice. The city whispers his fall. but Elena watches him rise into something else entirely. Weeks pass, she recovers. He steps back, giving her space he never learned to offer before. No guards, no shadowing, just presence when invited, absence when needed. One night she finds him on the balcony, staring at the skyline he once ruled. "You are letting it go," she says. He nods. "Power isn't worth losing you." "And if I'd walked away?" "I would have let you," he answers honestly. "And it would have destroyed me." She moves into his arms. That's when he understands. Love isn't possession. It's permission. The press finds out anyway. Headlines explode. The city's most dangerous man seen publicly with a trauma surgeon, scandal, speculation, threats. Kenji doesn't hide. At a charity gala for hospital reform, cameras flash as Elena steps onto the stage to speak about rare blood donations. Kenji stands in the open, visible, unarmed. When someone shouts his name like an accusation, he doesn't flinch. Instead, he walks to her side and takes her hand. The room holds its breath. "This woman saved my life," he says calmly into the microphone, "and I choose her publicly, completely, forever." Elena's breath catches. Later that night, under soft lights and quiet air, he kneels before her. Not in a grand hall, not with cameras, but in the place where it all began. "Marry me," he says, "not because I need saving, but because I want to build something that doesn't need to be feared." Tears slip down her cheeks. "Yes," she whispers, "but only if we do it as equals." He smiles, undone. There was never another option. They marry months later, quietly, intentionally, no spectacle, just vows spoken with shaking voices and promises carved from everything they survived. The ring fits like it always belonged there. Life settles into something gentler. Kenji consults, advises, builds legitimate ventures. Elena leads groundbreaking research into rare blood compatibility. Together, they create a foundation, saving lives without shadows. One morning, sunlight spills across the kitchen floor as Elena stares at a pregnancy test in her trembling hands. Kenji knows before she speaks. "Say it," he whispers. She laughs through tears. "We're having a baby." He sinks to his knees, pressing his forehead to her stomach, breath shaking. "I swear," he murmurs, "this child will never know fear." Months later, in a quiet delivery room, their daughter arrives, screaming, furious, alive. Kenji holds her like something holy. "My heart," he whispers, "my redemption." Years pass. They tell their daughter the truth when she's old enough, not about violence, but about choice. About love that demanded courage, about running towards something worth saving. On quiet evenings, they stand by the window together, city lights stretching endlessly beyond. Elena leans into him. "Do you regret who you were?" He kisses her temple. "No, because without him, I wouldn't have found you." She smiles. "And without me?" He pulls her closer. "I would still be lost." They stay there, breathing together, whole. Sometimes running isn't cowardice. Sometimes it's the long road home.